Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and their professional teams struggle to find great capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way to exit your highly appreciated assets tax deferred so you can create, preserve, and grow more wealth. I'm your co-host, Pearson York, filling in for Brett Swarts. In each episode, I'm joined by some of the best wealth, business, real estate, and leadership individuals in the world to share ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. As always, we're streaming on expertcresecrets.com, Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel, the Kingdom Luxury Realty YouTube channel, and the Kingdom Luxury Realty Facebook channel. And I'm very excited about our next guest. He's the founder and CEO of Sterling Stock, and they have a unique new software that we're going to be talking about. And so, without further ado, Jaden, Sterling, how you doing, my friend?
Doing well, Pierce. Thanks so much for having me on your show today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I want to get into this whole thing, but before we do, I want to just go ahead and give the listeners a little bit of background about who you are. So, how'd you get to where you are today?
Well, I started out in my 20s as a financial consultant with Merrill Lynch and Citigroup. So I just jumped right into the equity markets, learning about investments. And then when I got out of that business at 31, I retired from that. I got into real estate and I developed 125 affordable housing projects in the city of Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida. And from there, I went back into the equity markets, just found it to be a lot more lucrative, easier to manage. I didn't have to worry about running toilets and tenants and what have you. So, really have just been empowering people for the last 20 years to invest their money to get way better returns than the banks or brokerage firms are giving them. And that's how, like you had mentioned, Sterling Stock Picker got created.
Absolutely awesome. Well, we're gonna have a great conversation today.
Yes, we
And before we dive into the meat of this, give me one or two strengths that you have that how you think have let you be successful today.
I think my main one is that I follow my intuitive guidance. So I always go with my gut. And that's really counterintuitive because we're told, analyze things carefully, really think things through. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I believe we all have a strength within us that allows us to know the truth very quickly. And that is through our spidey senses, through our intuition. It's not just a women's thing, it's a men's thing as well. And when we're connected to it and tapped into it, it's much easier to find winning investments and investments that are going to perform very well. So the second thing is, I would say would be a superpower is I simplify the complicated. I don't know about you, Pierce, but man, whenever it gets complicated, like you're talking tax code or anything, my eyes glaze over and I just tune out. I can't stay with it. So I prefer simple, easy strategies. And that's how I live my life and how we've created the software and everything that we do.
Absolutely. Yeah, simplifying the complicated is how you know you mastered something. So if you can do that, it's definitely a superpower, right? So that's awesome. And in talking to you before the show, you mentioned that you have this new software that you've picked up, which kind of sounds like you're simplifying the complicated, because I know for a fact that trying to pick stocks and day trading or even swing trading or any sort of trading, you can lose your butt real quick. And if you're not paying attention and you don't know what you're doing. So tell me about your software and how does it work and what's the value it brings?
Sure, happy to. So thanks for asking. Information and knowledge is key. You're right. If you don't know what you're doing, you can absolutely lose your shirt in investing, especially in this market. This is a super tricky equity market to make profits in. So you have to be really selective in terms of what industries to invest in, and then find the right companies within that industry. So we had a huge monumental task that we set out to accomplish, which was We basically said in 2018, if we could help novice investors, people who knew nothing about stocks, nothing about investing, if we could help them find winning stocks in 3 clicks, we knew we'd have something. So we created the software around looking at people's personal values. So whatever stocks that pop up for them are in alignment with their personal values, but also their risk tolerance level, which is really important. So the system tracks 16,000 companies in North America and also over 700 cryptocurrencies. That's a huge market that's really coming up quickly. And we thought it would be important to have software that would analyze cryptos as well as stocks and then give recommendations to people.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to press you a little bit here because I'm
Sure.
real curious. So how is it different than, let's say, like Zach's picks or a Lewis Navalier's picker, or even just some kid on YouTube who's got a Discord that throws out picks? How is your software differentiating itself, and what value does it bring above and beyond that?
Yeah, great question. So you're right. There's a ton of software out there that will pick stocks, mostly from a technical perspective. And I've invested in those before. I've paid tens of thousands of dollars to buy software to find winning stocks. And it was confusing, man. And I thought, geez, if it's this complicated for me, then I can't imagine it working for many people, because this is my background. It's what I studied to do. So, like I said, we simplified the complicated. Not only do we look at the technical indicators, but we also look at the financial as well as the fundamental indicators. And every Monday I show up in there, I do a live stream and share with our subscribers what I'm buying, why I'm buying it, and if I pull back on a position or a stock, if I sell it, I always share why as well. So I'm combining a lot of other elements that some of our competitors don't have. First of all, I'm in there. I'm a 32-year professional investor. So I'm in there giving advice. And also I've recorded training videos. We must have several hundred videos throughout the website that are embedded to help people learn about what technical indicators are, what fundamental indicators are, what financial indicators mean for a business. And it's through that comprehensive structure with all the elements in place that I think we have something fairly unique.
Interesting. Okay, so basically the value add above and beyond is that you kind of really drill down into simplifying what it is you're doing and the why behind it, and so people can easily follow along without getting lost in the minutia of everything that's around them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. When we talk about taxes, so I'll just throw in here something. So many investors are told, invest in a 401k, open up an IRA or a Roth IRA, and they have merit. But the reality is, since they're registered accounts, you can't take any tax losses through that account. So when you invest, yes, open those up, but also have an account, a margin account or cash account where you can invest in some maybe a little more aggressive stocks that you can get a higher rate of return with. And then if they don't work out, you just pair your losses against your gains, and then you're taxed on what's left, right? So,
Of course.
so yeah, there's strategies around what people can do within the accounts that they set up, but also looking at which accounts to put which investments is really important too.
So how much money does someone need in order to be super profitable off of your software?
Well, it's a great question. The question is, how much money does someone need to invest in equities, right? What should they start with? I get that all the time. And I really think in this day and age with zero commissions, in the US, there's TD Ameritrade. I've been with them for over 33 years. They're not charging to buy and sell equities, right? They used to charge, I used to pay $100 back in the day to buy a stock, I know I'm aging myself. But with the zero commission thing, you can literally put $1,000 to work and have it start earning you a decent rate of return.
So who is your software good for? I mean, is it good for the retail traders that are just, using Robinhood and Webull like on the
For sure.
on the day, or is it for the people who are, pulling the Warren Buffett type movements and they're buying companies, or what's your target market?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of Warren Buffett, I always think of a buy and hold kind of investor.
Yeah.
Our software works for that type target market, but also for traders for sure. We also give clear guidance when to buy and sell, and it's on the fly, like it's quick. You might take a position on Wednesday, and you'll get a sell order on Monday. So yeah, we it works for anyone depending on their risk tolerance and their investment goals. I'll give you an example. Had a teacher, high school math teacher, come to me, and he had gone through some of my courses, and he said, when we had the software, he's like, I'm in, sign me up. I know
Yeah.
it's going to be awesome. So he started with $17,000. He grew it to over 100,000 in 6 months.
Wow.
I mean, and it was like just all pure him doing research within the stock picker and investing his money, not being afraid, right? I think that's one of the
Yeah.
key things in this market. I hear it all the time. Oh, is the market too high? Is I'm sitting on the sidelines. I'm waiting for a pullback. And the reality is that's happening every day internally. Just today, we got Netflix down 40% or close to
Jeez.
40% in one
Yeah.
trading day, right? So it's happening. We've already had that big dip as a market in a whole in the last 2 years. So now we have an opportunity to start investing. Don't be afraid of this market. All you need is good guidance in terms of which stocks to buy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the things that I was doing for a little while was I was just following a Discord, and they're like, okay, and trading call options, right? Okay,
Yeah.
Peloton put 76 cents, expiring Friday, right?
Yeah.
And it's Wednesday. So, you have your theta and your decays and your deltas, all that stuff, right? That you got to like kind of keep track of and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And all of a sudden, like we're in and out of trades within 5, 10, 15 minutes. Um, so like, are you doing like the quick scalp trades, like where it's like, hey, like, if someone's not looking at their, alerts and they're not alerted, like, are they going to miss the 10% scalp or whatever? Or is it more of like a swing trade where it's like, hey, there's a day or two, like if you're an hour or so behind, it's not gonna crush you like it would if you were to leave the room for 5 minutes and all of a sudden come back and now you're down 6,000 as opposed to up 400.
Yeah, it's such a good point. So initially, we just had emails go out to people when they would put price target and limit orders in. Now we do it via text. So if you tell us, I want to know when the stock goes up 30% or 40%, boom, we'll send out a text. So you'll get that information instantaneously. So yeah, I think there's a lot of value there. And in today's equity markets, I think covered calls all day long on positions.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Mhm.
you have alerts built into the system where people can be like, okay, so I want to set. And so instead of having to set like a stop loss or a trailing stop loss or something like that, like you'll say, okay, you'll track it, and once it hits, like you'll send the alert and it'll go.
Correct. 100%. Now
Cool.
it won't execute because our trading platform, it's not a trading platform where
Correct.
we execute trades. You have to then go onto your Robinhood account or your TD Ameritrade or wherever your account is and actually physically go in. But if you've already set a limit order ahead of time, you're good to go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, it sounds like it's super interesting. So how can people get a hold of this thing?
So sterlingstockpicker.com, STERLING, stockpicker.com. You can grab a 14-day free trial. And then after that, if you like it, it's $33 a month, which we didn't think was too bad for people,
Yeah.
right? Quite affordable.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can start taking advantage of it and looking into it for sure.
When is it going to be available?
It's been out since 2020.
Okay, so it's been good to go. And what's your success rate look like on that thing?
Yeah, so we do track our performance, and currently we're up 92% over the averages on the trailing 30-day. And we actually post our performance right on our website. So if you go to sterlingstockpicker.com, you'll see our performance. Heck, Pierce, if we were a mutual fund, people would be banging down our door to invest, right?
Of
To throw
course.
money at us because we're getting almost 100% returns over what the averages are. And that is for our 5-star stocks, highest rated stocks that are industry best, have great growth averages, and are a buy rating in our system.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Jaden, one of the things that I, constantly hear is that, easy come, easy go, right? Like there's no like such thing as a free thing. I get all of these people like promising me like the moon or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Phenomenal returns on deals and whatever, right? Like so how could people feel comfortable enough to trust to go in and just give your system a try? What
Yeah.
what would you say to them?
I'd say you can try it for free for 2 weeks, right? You got 14 days to jump in there. You can cancel at any time. Take a look at it, see what we're doing in there, see the difference we're making. That's the thing that I hear so much in the equity markets is people promising the moon and the stars and not delivering. Like I say, we post our returns for our top rated
Yeah.
stocks every day on our website. So you're going to see not only the trailing 30-day returns, but the previous year. So we on a monthly basis, but also on the trailing 12-month basis as well. So yeah, just take that first step. Go to our site, take a look at it, look around, see if it works for you. We do best with the investor that is interested in taking responsibility for their money. The industry keeps talking in acronyms and making it confusing for people, and they make people dependent on a banker or broker. And the
Yeah.
myth is, the reality is they're not going to make you wealthy. I was in the business for 11 years. I was on the inside, worked for Merrill Lynch and Citigroup during my career, and I saw that they tracked how much money they made off of their clients, not for their clients. It's a term called velocity. What was the turnover in the portfolio? And that shocked me. When I started
Yeah.
to really see that, I'm like, okay, I need to get out of this business and focus on what my clients did. Peers, multimillionaires would come to me. They had 4 to 8 stocks in their portfolio. That was it.
Wow.
Concentrated wealth. We're sold this myth of diversify, and it's an absolute myth and it doesn't work. It doesn't work, but that's how the industry has sold everyone mutual funds. It's how they've sold their bond funds, CDs, GICs, all this crazy stuff that is making people broke. Can't even outpace inflation.
Interesting. So that's an interesting concept that we can kind of dive into. So you are in the camp that it's diversify and not diversify.
I love that. Warren Buffett said it best: diversification is the tax that the people who don't know what they're doing pay.
Gotcha. So okay, so now you mentioned that you had over 125 development projects in Florida.
Mhm.
What was that part of like a diversification? Did you liquidate those and just move it all into stocks, or tell me a little bit about that?
Great question. So what I did was my stock portfolio helped me build my real estate portfolio. I did things where I put up once my IRA up as collateral to buy an 8-unit apartment building. Then I said to the lender, I said, look, here's my goal, what I want to, the capital improvements I'm going to make on this property. I'm going to raise the rents, and then I'd like to get my IRA back. Is that possible? And they said, absolutely. So in 6 months, I got the property reappraised. I got my IRA back, and that was literally a no money down deal. So I've always used my equities to fund my real estate transactions. But during the course of my career, I did many 1031 exchanges as well. And that was something that it worked great up until the market crashed in '08 and '09. I was over leveraged with real estate during that time. So I learned big time. I learned to stay with something proven that works. So I took my gains from real estate, I rolled it back into the equity markets and bought stocks like buying Apple at $60 a share pre 3 splits ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just quite an awesome experience. So that's why I say risk taking. I think it's really important for people to continue to invest their money, whether it's a balance, it can be a balance between real estate and equities. What real estate does from a tax perspective, as you know, gives us amazing depreciation.
Yep.
So throughout the years, I'm still rolling forward $200,000 in depreciation loss. So over the last 10 years, I've been able to flow $400,000 of income through my business that had all the real estate in it, and I haven't paid any taxes since because of
Of course.
depreciation. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what's been your biggest frustration with the capital gains tax and the 1031?
Well, my biggest frustration is that it lends itself to over leverage.
Yeah.
When you 1031, when you're constantly upgrading, transferring that to the next deal, to a bigger deal, the idea is to get a bigger unit, right? So at some point, I'm almost thinking we might be better off by paying the taxes along the way. I know this is going to be counterintuitive, and some people will be like, "Are you crazy?" But and then we'll never find ourselves in an over leveraged position.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting that's an interesting idea. And the reason why I asked that question is when, obviously this is a capital gains tax deferral um, podcast, and
Right.
we're all about, deferring the taxes. And so one of the things that we use, and that's primary thing, is we use the Deferred Sales Trust. And this is a vehicle that's really unique because it works for any highly appreciated asset, not just real estate. It'll work for stocks. It'll work for businesses. It'll work for Bitcoin, for crypto. It'll work for art. Anything that's highly appreciated, you can sell it. And then it's like kind agnostic, so you do not have to go back into the same type of investment, i.e., going from real estate, you can go into stocks or bonds or businesses or back into real estate or whatever the case is that you want, or a
Mhm.
combination thereof. Um, the philosophy of diversification and diversification is still one that I'm personally struggling with, right? Because I see these billionaires that have a bunch of different things going on, and then I see other people that are very, like, Warren Buffett type people that are just dumping a ton of money into one deal, and it took them 15 years to get there or whatever, but now it's billions, whatever,
Yeah.
right? So, that's a different, but it gives you that option,
Yeah.
and it also, you don't have the same time constraints. So you can sell a real estate asset and you can go put it into stocks. And from there, you can wait until the market calms down a little bit and then go back into real estate.
All
So
within the deferred sales trust.
all within the deferred sales trust, all tax
Is
deferred. And not only on top of that, but you do get a new depreciation schedule, which is
interesting.
key, which
Is
is
that
very key. Yeah. So
so? Oh, wow. This
yeah.
sounds good. I need
That
to
is a good one.
a little
Yeah,
bit more.
this one is very interesting, and you guys can definitely learn a lot more about this at capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We also have a mastermind every Friday and at 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you guys can come there, ask questions, and check that all out. I
Oh,
think I invited you. You might have been busy this Friday, but that's a
mhm.
weekly thing. So
Okay,
if you want, definitely pop in and say hi.
sure. Now,
It'll definitely be
is
good.
this a non-revocable trust? Is that how they're able to do this, or is it revocable?
Oh, you can amend it all day long.
Really? Oh, I need
Yeah.
to learn more about this.
Yeah, it's very unique, and it's not a 1031. It totally works off of, if I were to simplify it, this isn't correct, but the conceptually, right? You
Yeah.
can basically 1031 into a self-directed IRA account
Yeah, right. Right.
and then
Okay.
and then invest it whatever you want.
Okay. So it's a tax deferred vehicle, like you're
Totally
saying.
tax deferred vehicle.
Tax
Yep.
deferred sales trust today.
Yep.
Okay. That's
And the biggest kicker is that it moves assets outside the taxable estate. So if you're breaching that 22 million, which will probably drop to, I don't know, 5 or 6 million here in the next couple of years,
right.
you're outside of that. So you won't get hit with the 40% death tax, or your children won't get hit with the 40% death tax or estate tax upon your passing. So it's a
Excellent.
huge estate planning tool.
Everyone needs to check this out, Pierce.
Yeah. So
That's
it's
amazing.
an amazing structure, and
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. So interesting. The last thing I wanted to just kind of touch on with you is this. I kind of wanted to bring this back to the stock picker.
Mhm.
If someone were to have some sort of like asset that's super highly appreciated, and they were to, kind of use a DST and put it into, can they use your software with like financial advisors and that type of thing, or would that be too cumbersome? Is it better to basically have just initial control over it and go from there?
I mean, they can always use it in conjunction with their financial advisor for sure. We have some bankers who are in subscribers of ours because they feel like they don't have the training in the equity markets that they needed from their bank. Our software gives that to them, or we have many, Lone Rangers who work by themselves, and like that high school teacher that I mentioned.
Yeah.
So yeah, either way works great.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool.
Hmm.
All right. So, Jaden, are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Awesome. Okay. So, what is your favorite leadership quote?
Favorite leadership quote. I guess it's more of a slogan. Just do it.
Nike.
Nike.
Scared money don't make no money, right?
That's right. Scare money, don't make money. Exactly. Just do it.
Oh man. All right. What's your favorite book?
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, definitely a good one. What are you most curious about right now?
I'm curious how this pandemic is going to play out globally. That's what I'm most curious about at this moment.
Yeah, that's the whole nother
It
can of
is.
worms
It
and
is.
topic to get on. I need to start another podcast where we can just like have conversations with super smart people about what they think's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody knows. Talk about complicated.
Complicated.
There's nothing simple about that right now. So
For sure. For sure.
interesting. All right. So guys, again, Jaden Sterling, go to his website, sterlingstockpicker.com. That's SterlingStockPicker, sterlingstockpicker.com. Go get a free trial, 14-day free trial of the stock picker. And then it's $30 a month. So if you make one trade and you make, put $100 in, you make a 30% trade, you're already paid for it. So
For sure.
or 3% if you got 1,000. So it's not a very high cost. It could make you buku bucks and whatnot. So definitely go there and check that out. And if you guys are interested in learning more about the Deferred Sales Trust, you can start your Deferred Sales Trust today by going to Capital Gains Tax Solutions. Learn about that. Come to our Mastermind every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Come learn. We have a ton of stuff on YouTube. Please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Jaden, thanks for coming on the show. Any parting words?
My pleasure. Hey, thanks so much for having me on the show. I enjoyed it. Look forward to coming back and hearing more about your deferred sales trust as well. That sounds epic.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is a best way to create, preserve, and grow more wealth. Guys, rate, review, subscribe. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you next time.